bucks in arbitration. He may choose to write. His father wrote his autobiography. Maybe he'll write as well. And if he chooses to write, we hope you excel in writing. One day, in a lighter moment, we were sitting together and I asked him what would he like to do when he retires, and he says, "Oh, I'd like to drive the tractor on my farm and just be by myself." If he loves that, we wish him that in his spare time. I must share with you one other very personal conversation with him. One day he was reciting to me something that had happened at Simla, and he acted part of it. I can't share that with you, but it was super. And I asked him to share it with some other colleagues, and he did the same. Again, super. So when we were making these films, documentaries on something to do with the judiciary, somebody suggested to him, "Why don't you be a director?" "No," he says, "I'll be an actor." So if he wants to act, we wish him acting in his spare time. We wish you all that you may desire in life. We wish you happiness with your family. We wish Mrs. Amita Thakur, the children, the brothers, the sisters, extreme happiness and everything that God can give to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You've put it across so well, sir. And I would now like to share that when we were planning for this farewell function, we are always asked how many chairs should be there, what should be the size of the pandal. And we knew the popularity of Honorable Justice Thakur. So I told the service provider, please increase the chair by 50%, increase the size of the pandal. And I looked to my right. Hundreds of lawyers are standing there, sir. And this is nothing but what we feel for you, sir. You are in our hearts. What you've done for us, we'll never forget, sir. When we go to the Honorable Chief Justice of India, and I have some experience of being an office bearer, one EC proposes, and after that there are 2-3 ECs that follow it up, and then we get one small gift from the Honorable Chief Justice of India. But in his tenure, we got the new bar room. He extended the ladies' bar room and renovated it. He also gave us an extended, renovated canteen that we all use, and that was not the end. In the end, he also thought of the litigants, and he gave us the litigants' cafeteria. We have never seen, sir, I am saying it with utmost responsibility, the Bar Association and the lawyers have never seen such a beautiful year where whatever we demanded for was delivered instantly, sir. We are very grateful to you. I would like to invite him again by a couplet. Very beautiful lines. आईने में जैसे कोई सूरत नहीं रहती, आईने में जैसे कोई सूरत नहीं रहती, ईमान भरे दिल में कदूरत नहीं रहती, ईमान भरे दिल में कदूरत नहीं रहती, बुनियाद में हो जिसकी खुलूस और मोहब्बत, बुनियाद में हो जिसकी खुलूस और मोहब्बत, उस घर को सजाने की जरूरत नहीं रहती. With those words, sir, I would invite you to address this August gathering, sir. Thank you so much for everything. Can we have a huge round of applause for him? He truly deserves it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Gaurav. Honorable Chief Justice of India, Designate Justice Kher, Shri Mukul Rohtgi, Attorney General for India, Shri Suri, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Shri Sinha, the Vice President, our very, very dynamic Shri Gaurav Bhatia, Honorary Secretary, Shri Ahmedi, former Chief Justice of India, my esteemed judges, senior advocates, members of the bar, distinguished guests. For past about 7 years, I must have attended at least 27 or 28 farewell functions from this pandal. But I have never seen a gathering of this size, with so many senior advocates participating. So while sitting there with Justice Kher, I was asking him, look, how many people have gathered to welcome you as Chief Justice of India? I said, what an amazing gathering, what an amazing gathering. The first Chief Justice of India, the first Sikh Chief Justice of India taking oath, and here is this great gathering that has assembled to welcome you. He turned, he said, no, these are not for me, they are for you. I said, why are they here for me? He said, they are celebrating the exit of the terrible Chief Justice of India. And the icing on the cake is that he is now sending me to Bollywood. And if possible, he says, you must re-emerge somewhere in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. I am reminded of what Allama Iqbal said. He said, अहले ईमा दुनिया में बसूरत खुर्शीद जीते हैं. Khurshid is the sun. Ahle Iman जो होते हैं, men of faith, they live like the sun. यहाँ डूबे वहाँ निकले, वहाँ डूबे यहाँ निकले. He is right to an extent in the sense that this is the 5th farewell I am getting. And hopefully, for those of you who feel that this terrible man must exit quickly, this should be the final farewell. The first came when I left Jammu and Kashmir for a faraway place in the south, Karnataka. It looked as though I have been exiled by the Chief Justice, who is my greatest benefactor, Justice Venkat Chelya, sent to a place where I knew nobody. I didn't understand the language, I didn't know about the practice of that place, the traditions of that place. But I applied myself. I realized very soon that if you want to build yourself in this career, as you do in the legal profession, you can do it only brick by brick. So, persistent hard work, courtesy and humility perhaps were the first few lessons that I learned as a judge in that court. When I left Bangalore, after about 10.5 years, a satisfied man, a man who didn't want to come back. In fact, the transfer policy was reversed within about 3 years of my transfer to Bangalore, and I had the option of returning back to my parent court. I declined. I said, I am very happy here. Bangalore bar had received me so well. The brother judges were so kind and cordial towards me. It was a pleasure working there, and I had got adjusted to my environment. But compulsions at home forced me to return to the north. I was given a farewell by the Bangalore Bar Association, and like the crowd here, the Bangalore Bar Association was also overflowing with the members of the bar. I don't know whether it's a part of my nature or a weakness in me. Parting was emotional And while I was in tears, even the members of the bar were in tears. Came to Delhi, was received with mixed feelings. A section of the bar, as also the bench, felt that here is a senior man coming over our head. Worked here, but the day I left for Punjab, there was a farewell in the Bar Association, and I still remember the affection and the warmth with which I was given a send-off. I felt vindicated. The farewell from Punjab to Delhi, as my brother Justice Keher described, was still more affectionate. What made it special was that it was not just the bar or the brother judges, but even the employees joined them. And it became a very, very emotional, very, very affectionate send-off which I received. But of all these, I feel the warmth, the affection with which you have assembled here to bid farewell to me surpasses all those farewells that I have received. And for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I also thank the President of the Bar Association, the Secretary Shri Bhatia, the Vice President, the Attorney General, and the Chief Justice Designate for such kind words that they have spoken about me. I started very young. I was just about 20 when I started my career. I remember I knew nothing about any brief which I got in my father's chamber when he got elevated. There were about 4,000 cases, very important matters in the High Court, sessions trials in the trial courts, very, very significant, you see, election petitions in the High Court. The High Court had original jurisdiction, very important suits in the High Court, partition, declaration and so on. And I knew nothing about any brief. So my chamber works used to start at 5 and I would continue till about midnight in the chamber, and the way the time passed, one wouldn't realize that it is already midnight. It was only after I got married that my wife would remind me it's already midnight, come home, because she wouldn't eat her dinner till I would reach back. At 38, designated as a senior, at 42, elevated. The rest has been a uneventful, placid journey in the judicial hierarchy. But if you ask me, when I look back, I feel the most interesting and the most challenging times that I had in my life were as a struggling lawyer. Preparing a brief, thinking of a point, looking for judgments, arguing before the court, some of them patient, some of them very impatient, used to be a great challenge. Every morning used to be a challenging morning. And I miss those days. I miss my days as a lawyer. And if you ask me that one amendment that I would like the Constitution to be made of, it is to let the retiring judges free to start practice again. Because most of us are at heart lawyers. You may become judges, but eventually when you introspect, when you re-evaluate and reassess yourself, you realize that you are a lawyer at heart. I have seen over the years this race for becoming a judge, efforts to become a judge. And very recently I have seen the race for becoming a senior advocate. I've always felt that these distinctions should come to you uninvited. You should not invite them, you should not ask for them. You must be considered deserving and suitable for such a distinction. But why should a lawyer at all want to become a judge if he is not saturated with his professional career? If you ask me, there are a number of occasions when I have felt that this youngster who has so much work, if I had half that much work in the Supreme Court when I wanted to shift from Jammu to Delhi, I would have never become a judge. I would not have liked to become a judge. The difficulty in shifting to Delhi for a youngster is that if you are doing well in your own court, you give up all that to start afresh in the Supreme Court, where you will start from scratch. You will have to rub shoulders with the eminent people. And if you have Nariman practicing in the Supreme Court, Sundaram practicing in the Supreme Court, and a host of other eminent lawyers practicing in the Supreme Court, you feel you may be inadequate for that job. So shifting from a High Court to the Supreme Court is always a very tough decision. And people who are comfortably placed in their own courts are finding it very hard to shift to Delhi, because coming to Delhi and starting a new career here is so much more difficult than to start and succeed in your own court. We have over the years seen people who have risen very high and made a great mark. But those of you, and this is for the younger members of the bar who are always, you see, desirous of excelling, I would only recite Allama Iqbal again, who said, "Khudi ko kar buland itna कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है." So you ought to rise yourself to a level where destiny itself beckons you to shoulder higher responsibilities. I will beseech, request, I will advise my younger friends to apply themselves and not to lose the opportunity that comes their way. I have always mentioned this to youngsters in universities, in bar associations, that lawyers are like performers in a theatre. An artist looks for a beginning, an opening. He wants a break. You must have seen many great actors and actresses always remember the director who gave them a break. They are always looking for a break because they feel they are so much full of talent that they just need a break to prove themselves. Lawyers are also in the same position. You ought to think that what is coming your way in the form of a brief is a great break. And if you do not grab that opportunity and do your best, it may never come again. Opportunity may never knock at your doors again. Nothing pains me more when I see a youngster having a brief, a client having trusted him with his brief, not doing well in the court. Because by not doing well, he loses that client, he loses the respect of his opponent, and he loses his self-respect and his reputation in the eyes of the court also. So each and every brief that you handle, each and every case that you conduct is a challenge, and you cannot afford even a single person to go out of the court and say, this young boy did not do well, he was unprepared, he is not adequate for the job. The performance, if it is good, will earn you a good name, but if it is bad, it will earn you and give you a bad name. And no lawyer can afford even a single detractor, a single critic, A single individual who goes around telling people, there was this man whom I engaged, but he did not do well, he let me down, he was inadequate for the job, he was inefficient or incompetent. If you look at this situation today, I don't have much to say on matters which I have dealt with, decisions that have been handed down, judgments that have been delivered. Those may keep reminding you about me for a long time, because judges who have delivered judgments live even after their natural lifespan. Judges are read. Today we read the judges are, you are in the company of eminent judges who have written great judgments which are published in newspapers and in the law reports. But if you look at your assets, you have a jurisprudence which is time tested.